Why did you want this resolution?
There's a number of reasons. One is that with so many bills, it's just hard to keep track of them. And there's also a fiscal responsibility component to this, that in a 45-day session, there's probably only so many bills that we're going to be able to get to. And that means a whole bunch of bills that were drafted, analyzed, negotiated. Those are not going to be able to get presented. And that's a sunk cost that we just don't get back.
Because you have people who have to do this. You've got attorneys that have to draft these bills. People have the assumption, maybe the false assumption, you write your legislation.
No, thank goodness we don't do that. No, we've got experts that do that for us.
Yeah, and they're not cheap.
No, they're not. You've got a drafting attorney, at least one on every bill. You've got some policy analysts. You've got a fiscal analyst creating a fiscal note that's doing an economic evaluation. And a lot of times these bills start drifting into agencies, where an agency head, other people are convening in meetings, and that's a soft cost, maybe not $100 cost.
So how much money do you think it costs per bill to the taxpayers?
I've had estimates that it's cost at least $5,000 to draft any bill. Those are the simple ones. Probably much more than that for involved, multi-tone bill.
So having so many of these is a waste of money.
I really think it is. I think the fiscal part of it is a problem. I think if you're a fiscal responsible person, like I am in my family, you would say, let's try not to waste more than we have to. But also, as a person that doesn't want more government than there needs to be, you could say, why are we passing last year 959, or presenting 959 bills, passing almost 600 of them? It's just a lot. And I know that when the executive branch has to figure out how to implement all of these 600 rules, it also is a lot, and they have to hire more people to do it.
I can't read the bills. I can read a small fraction of the bills. Does anybody up here read all the legislation?
I don't know that everybody can read all the legislation. I know that I'll just admit right now I can't read every word of everything. I try to make sure that I know what I'm voting on in summaries and ways of doing that. But I also think that it's important to know that we do have rules that say every bill should have a committee in the Senate, a committee in the House, public commentary in both of these times, and then 24 hours for us to be able to read the bills. And when we suspend the rules towards the end of the session, that can go out the window. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't get some attention, but that's a risk for bad legislation, I think, that you can start voting on stuff that hasn't gone through the entire process.
So why are your colleagues so resistant to this?
Well, I think there's a temptation to tell your constituents that you're being responsive to them because you're running a lot of bills, or that you're effective because of the number of bills that you're running. I think if you talk to our constituents about that theory, they would tell you they would much rather have better bills and fewer bills rather than more bills.
How many bills do you have this session?
I've got 5 this session.
And what would be a reasonable cap for each legislator?
My idea of reasonable may not be what everybody else thinks is reasonable, but my joint rules resolution that's being held now said 6 for a representative, 10 for a senator. They do have more constituents. I thought that would make sense. With certain carve-outs for committee bills, base budget bill, just straight repeal of code, those would not go into the account.
Your resolution would not have the effect of law. It would be a resolution.
It's a joint rules resolution that we agree amongst ourselves.
Okay. Would that be easily broken?
We do have internal enforcement mechanisms with our OLRGC, the legislative drafting staff.
So a resolution is enough, in your opinion?
I think it should be enough. And there should probably be some thoughtful exceptions to the rule, that if something comes up late in the session, we can either have somebody who hasn't met their quota run an important bill, or have maybe leadership get some provisions to add a bill in an important situation.
So if your fellow legislators aren't in favor of this yet, it's not ripe, who does like it?
Constituents love it. They are tired of not knowing what's being done to them. School boards.
That's an interesting way to put it.
School boards, for example, will be the first ones to tell you that they go into the legislative session with trembling and trepidation, that they are wondering just what is about to happen to them. Municipalities, the same way. Almost any government agency, fears us. I think that we're going to over-regulate them. Constituents love it. The executive branch really loves it. The alleged research, those who have to prepare all of this work, they really, really love it. There's just a holdup with some of our legislators. I think 20 bills is so many, and we've got some that are pushing 30 and 40 bills, which is, in my mind, running 5 bills and knowing how much work goes into that, that's unthinkable amount of work for me.
Is it more transparent if you had fewer bills?
I don't know. I mean, I assume that it probably has to be, but the legislators that are running 37 bills, they may just be much more efficient than I am. I just can never do it.
You said government agencies sometimes have trepidation. Lots of people have trepidation about what might be in this legislation because they go through it and they look for the fine print and they try to see where the gotcha moment is. Is that what bothers them right now?
I don't think the legislature is trying to do gotchas. I think sometimes it happens through unintended consequences. Probably more likely to happen if it doesn't get through the entire process where more eyes are spending more time reviewing each bill. But I do know that, for example, Governor Cox has said he has to hire more staff every year just to make sure that, because they've got to be in compliance with the rules that we throw at them. They have to hire more staff and more expense just to make sure that they're complying with the laws that we have.